Hello everyone, FSG here, hope you're all doing well. Well, those Christmas presents just keep rolling in, don't they? And today we are going to be having a look at the first release of Autodrive for FS25, which came out yesterday while we were all tucking into our turkey. But it's so great to have this back. It is based on the final release that was done for FS22. Now, Stefan says that there is going to likely be a few little errors in it because Giants has changed a lot of stuff in the back end of the game. But if you do find any errors when you're playing with this, make sure that you feedback on the GitHub and make sure that you let him know what's happening there. Now, as I said with Courseplay the other day, the only place you should be downloading this at the moment is from the GitHub for FS25 Autodrive. I will put a link to that in the description. If you download this from any of the dodgy scraping mod sites, be that on your own back, you're likely not going to get the latest version, and worse, you could have a hacked, dodgy version that will do untold things to your machine. So please, please, please support the modders by downloading from the original mods wherever you can. But without further ado, this isn't going to be a tutorial per se, but I will show you a couple of the, I guess, the key ways that you can use Autodrive. We'll do a bit more of a deep dive into some of the other functionality in the future, but for today, get you up and running. Let's load up a combine using Autodrive and let's run it from a load point to an unload point so you can see that happening as well. But let's jump in, let's have a play with it. So that's us in our tractor now. Now, the default to bring up the HUD is Alt and numpad 0. Now, I've changed this already because I don't have a numpad. I've got a narrow keyboard. I've got a compact 65% keyboard, so I don't have a numpad on mine. So I've changed it, but you can just do that through the keybinds as per normal. I used End, and it brings it up. The reason I used End is because it's next to Delete, which brings up Courseplay. So that's why I did it like that. But there is your Autodrive HUD. I'm sure you'll recognize that from if you've used this in FS22. But very simply, you can create your own courses with this. This is a lot smoother than the Giants base game version. I've talked about it already. The twitchy wheels in the Giants base game version really kind of destroy that immersion. With Autodrive, it is very, very smooth. So very quickly, let's show you how to do a pretty basic course. Now, just before we do that, to access the HUD here, you need to press your middle mouse button. Now, look, I'll press it again. There we go. We are able to pan around our tractor and things like that. If I press the middle mouse button now, you can see now my mouse is moving around, but I can't pan around my tractor. That is how you access the menu here. Now, there are lots of different modes here. Look, we've got Drive here. We've got Pick Up and Deliver. We have got Deliver. We have got Load. We have got Unload Combine, which is the one we'll look at in a little bit, and back to Drive. So, in essence, for what we're going to do now to create courses, we are going to use the Drive mode, because we're going to create a little course that goes from our silo over there to the field down there that we are going to combine in a little bit. So, with that in mind, what we'll do, you've got to hit this little triangle here with the exclamation mark in it, which will take you into edit mode. So we'll click on that, and it's opened up a few more options along here, as you can see. And the first thing we want to do is get ourselves into a position that we're happy with, and then we'll start recording our course. So let's put our tractor about here. It's going to spin around so we're behind it a little bit more, and then we are going to hit the record button. And as you can see there, we've got that little red line with the dot underneath the tractor. That is your first waypoint. Now, if we drive away here, it will continue to draw waypoints underneath the tractor, like so. And we'll head over to the silo here. Now, one thing I like to do, because it just means you can see a little bit more as well, is if you go into the cog settings here, I can click onto this, and I'll go down to the second one here, which has got the kind of human head on it, and you've got line height. You can see it 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down, line height. It's currently at ground level. We're going to move that up to above tractor. I'm going to apply that, and we go back. Now, you can see those waypoints we had are missing, but you can also see that we've come out of edit mode as well. So we want to go back into edit mode, because that lets you see the course you've already created. And you can see when we're in edit mode, we are still recording there, so the red dot is still there. So all it does is hide them again. It doesn't stop the recording. So if I pull away now, I'm not having to hit any buttons, and our course will still keep going. So I'm just going to turn and get over the grate here, like so. And one of the tips that I used in 22, which I'm sure will be the same in 25, is it doesn't really matter how far over you go with your trailer, because as long as you go a little bit further, it will recognise the moment it drives over a trigger, it will stop anyway. So it's better to drive a little bit further past your grate for an unload point than to try and stop over it, because you can come up a little bit short sometimes. Now, once you're at this point, what you want to do is see the icon here with a little kind of marker and the plus. That is to create a waypoint. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to give us a target name here. So let's call this Silo, because that is our silo. I'm going to OK that. And you can see now we've got a little waypoint in there marked as Silo. Now, nothing else has happened. It hasn't stopped recording. So you can see our dot is still red there. What we'll do now, we'll head over to the field we want to go to. Over here. And again, the aim here is to keep nice, kind of smooth courses. Also, if you think you're going to be coming back this way on a multiple direction course, make sure you leave enough space for two vehicles to pass if you want to do it that way. The other option is to do two-way courses. We'll cover that in a different video. Just, this is really to show you the fundamentals, if you've never used it before and are interested to see what it does. So let's go around here. Like I said, this is a two-way road, so let's be careful here. Now I'm going to roll down here, probably do a U-turn past this pole here, and park up on the edge of the field. So again, slow things down, turn things around here, and we're going to create another target or a waypoint here. So let me just stop here. There's a good spot. Now you can see also, I should have pointed this out before, see that red line that's joined to the circle there? If I move either direction, it is sticking to it. Now if you go too far past that, it will jump to one of the other red dots. Basically all that means is when you set your target, it will set it on the red dot that red line is attached to. So let's click on here, let's call it field 2 wait, and OK that. And then all we've got to do now is close the loop on our course. So we'll drive back to the start of our course where we begun, and we'll connect things up. So we'll drive all the way up here. I think we'll go down this road just over to our right this time. So pull out onto the road here. Now with traffic in 25 being a little bit better behaved, we might avoid any incidents, or at least having to turn it off. But we'll run down here, and you will see where we started. There we go, down at the bottom. So we will roll around to here, like so, and I'm just going to stop short here, because here's what we're going to do. You can connect it up. Now, the options are, it can auto-connect. There's lots of different menu options to auto-connect it, reconnect it yourself. I like to have those turned off. So again, mouse button, you click on the last one, and you click on this one, and you can see there, it draws a green line, and it also shows you the arrow. If I just click a little bit high, you can see those arrows and the direction they're pointing in, telling you which way the course is going. If I click on this and click on this one, you can see that they are joined together, and we are good to go. So we have got a complete course, and the reason you know you'll have a complete course is because you won't get a warning if you try and start that course. If there's any gaps in your course, it won't let you continue them. So let's just turn off our record now, because we don't want to draw any more of these dots. Let's turn that off. There we go. Now, you can leave it in edit mode if you want to. So we will in this instance, so you can see these lines, but we'll turn them off later on. And what you do now, you can see, if you do that drop down there, this little drop down, this little arrow, you click on that, you've got your two options, field 2 wait and silo. So if I select silo here, there we go. And now all you need to do is press this little power button here, and that will take you to your silo. And now this is where you get to see how smooth this is compared to the base game AI workers. So the way he turns his wheel there, there's no janky, jumping around and bouncing around with the wheel. It's very smoothly done, and he will stop at his silo point. As we said, now there's a good example of what I said before. If you stop too early, if I'd put the silo stop point on there, or even on that one, the trailer wouldn't be over the trigger. So it's actually stopped using the very front of the tractor as the stop point for the trigger. So you can see why it's worth carrying it just a little bit further forward than having it right over the trigger point. So there we go. What we're going to do now, we are going to run this to field to wait. And look what I'll do now. I'll come out of edit mode so you can't see those lines anymore for an immersion perspective. Hit your power button and that will just run over to our field point. Now you can see it's showing you the next waypoint on there as well. See that little white line? It's basically telling you what's coming next. I like to turn that off as well. So again, into your cogs here, into your human head, the second one, and it will say here, show next path. We don't want that. But let's apply that, and there you go. That arrow is now gone as well. So we will roll round to our waypoint, and it will tell us, even though we can't see it now, it will roll round to our waypoint, and it will park up, and it will tell us, there we go, has reached field to wait. If we just turn on our thing again, you can see, there we go. In edit mode, you can see field to wait there, and you can see your course. But let's turn that back off, and we are pretty much done with that for now. We will come back to that. What we'll do is we'll grab our combine and set that up on Courseplay so it's running, and then we will set up this, and I'll show you how you can unload a combine using Autodrive alongside Courseplay. Right, here we are in our combine. We have come down from the store. We've got the Class Evian combine. What I'm going to do, just roll into the field to get us started. Now this, of course, isn't a Courseplay video, but I will show you how to set up a course so that you're good to go on Courseplay. Now you'll notice as well, I've left the Autodrive window up because we're going to need that as well. But let's bring up Courseplay now. Field work, we've got no course here, so we can click on no course. That will show us that the combine is in the field there. We'll just check our fieldwork settings. We want some headlands, so let's do 3 headlands, shall we? And I think that's probably about it. Let's just generate that fieldwork course and see what happens. There we go, that looks like a decent field setup. So I'm happy with that. So we will go back to our field and our combine, and you can see we've got the Courseplay start point over our heads there, and we are going to press, we're on nearest waypoint. I think that's probably fine because the original waypoint is just behind us, so it will push us on to the next one. I think we'll hit go, and of course it cuts into the field. Typical classic Courseplay, or classic user error, shall I say. Right, let's do it this one. Let's do first waypoint, let's do it sensibly. There we go. Right. So yes, bear in mind, best place to do is change it to first waypoint when you start a new course. But there we go, we are moving. The pipe came out because he drove over the trailer. But what we'll do, we'll let this run now until it is full, but we have to do one last thing. Now you can see in the Autodrive menu here, it says no driver with same target is available. Basically what that means is this combine cannot see anybody else on the Autodrive course because it doesn't have the same target. Now we know our John Deere, if we just jump to it, there is the target in the John Deere. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to change this, we're going to find the right course. So there we were, we want combine unload here. We want our waypoint to be field to wait, and we want our unload point to be silo. So now, if we set our target for our combine to be field to wait as well, that basically means that the tractor and the combine will be able to talk to each other and find each other in the field. So, let's just jump back to the combine and let's get that set up. So here we are, back in the combine. Let me just open this up, and we are going to select field to wait. So there you go, field to wait. Now it says no driver with the same target available still, because we've just changed that, but that will go away in a little while. And that's us really. All we need to do now is wait until the combine is full. It's already at 40%, so let's wait till it's full. And then hopefully our tractor over there should come and collect us. Now I've done a little bit of testing on this. I'm not sure it's 100% working as smoothly as it did in FS22 yet, but that's not to say that that won't be rectified relatively quickly. The other thing I'm going to say to you is make sure you are on Courseplay version 8.0.0.1, which was released yesterday as well, because the original 8.0.0.0 there was a bug in it which meant it wouldn't unload. So bear that in mind as well. But let's just jump back to the tractor quickly, because when this gets full I want to be in the tractor and we want to run over with the tractor and see how it works. And plus there's a couple of extra little settings we might want to adjust as well. Right, here we are, unload combine. We are sitting at our wait point waiting for our combine to get full. It will call the tractor when it gets to about 60%, and the tractor will follow it around the field. In terms of other settings though, if you go into the menu here, we want to go into here, and we've got things like restrict pathfinder to field and restrict unloader to field. I like to turn those on. We already have avoid front, route and park in field on, but restrict pathfinder and restrict unloader tend to, I don't know, make things work a little bit more smoothly, or certainly in my experience they have. Obviously you can play around with those and see what works better for you, but I've always found them to be pretty good. So there we go. We are just going to wait now until this combine is full. In fact, let's jump back to the combine and see what percentage is in, and when the tractor starts moving, we'll flip back over. Right, back in the combine here. We are actually on 88% here already, 89%, 90%, 91. Now, I've just realised something. I haven't turned my tractor on. Right, now this will work. It's waiting for the call, and there you go, AI worker G has a full grain tank. If we look over here, any second now, look, he's put his pipe out on the combine, and that is what we need to trigger the tractor. Now, I'm not driving this. This is all being done by the AI. It's going to run down, and it's going to hopefully pull under this pipe. And like I said, my testing before, this wasn't working 100%, but it looks like it's worked well here. So there we go. Combine drops the header down again, unloading, getting ready to go as soon as we are full. I'm using a relatively small trailer here as well, because actually it means when it finishes unloading here we should have a full trailer load, which will mean that it'll run back to the trigger start point and head back to the silo as well. So let's wait for this to finish, which shouldn't be too much longer now, and the combine will carry on going around the field, and the trailer hopefully will head back. So there we go, 95%. Combine is happy, combine is done. Now any second now, look, it says actually at the top of the UI there, waiting for room, so it's letting the combine get out of the way, and then the tractor will pull away when there's enough space between it and the combine. There we go, exiting field. Now you'll notice that I had avoid crop. It's completely dismissed that altogether. That was something I noticed in FS22 as well. You could actually turn off avoid fruit, or switch it on, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. But there we go. What it's doing now, and I'll turn this back on so you can see it, it's going back to field 2 waypoint, which is its trigger, and then it will just keep going, and it's going to drive to the unload point. So we'll follow this around the road here. Let's see, it'll just do its thing. Now, one thing I also sometimes do as well, it can get a little bit hot going around the corners as well. So you might want to knock your corner speed down to around about 70-75%. It helps a little bit on the tighter corners. Control things a little bit better. Just reduce the speed slightly, but there we go. It's just going to roll onto its trigger point now, hopefully. There we go. It's counting down. And see what it's done there, it's hit the trigger already. Oh, it's got a side tip on it. But you can see we've not actually hit the silo trigger point yet because it recognised that the trailer was over a trigger already, so it's unloading prior to hitting that point. So like I said, one good tip, make sure you carry the point of your trigger slightly past where you want to unload, and it'll avoid those issues. Now it should just run back to the field. So I'll turn this off again, and it goes on its merry way. If we jump back to the combine in a minute, I will just demonstrate that the fact I forgot to switch it on and have the tractor waiting was showing that it didn't have a target with the same name. Now we've switched this on and we've got field 2 wait as the target. We should be able to see the same one in the combine. So he's going to loop round back to his wait point, and he's just going to sit and wait there until the combine is ready to give him another call. And this time we'll go back to the combine. When the combine hits 60 or 65%, I can't remember what it's set to, it will do an instant call on the tractor. So yes, back in the combine here, you can see that red warning has now disappeared because field 2 wait in the combine is the same as field 2 wait in the tractor over there. So we'll come back when this hits 60%, and hopefully our tractor will start to trail the combine, just waiting for it to be full enough so that it can unload. Let's wait and see. So there we go, we have just hit 60% as the combine turns on this corner, and you can see over in the distance there, granted he's running through the crops again, that he's on his way, which is great. Now he will follow behind the combine to the point at which it is ready to unload, and then he will move into position. But for now, he should just stay close enough without interfering with the combine. That's the plan anyway. He's doing some interesting loops as well. Like I said, this is perfect. Remember, this is the initial release, and there will be a few little things that need testing and sorting out and ironing out over time. But in general, it does work very well. Based on my very initial testing, it is working exceptionally well. So, there he is, rolling up quite aggressively. And I think we'll get to probably 95% or 99%, and the combine will stop and unload. Now, the trigger for the tractor rolling under the combine and under the auger is when it hits the point at which it puts its pipe out. The pipe is the trigger for everything happening. That's what it uses. And again, this is a little Autodrive trait as well. Sometimes it just reverses out the way for no reason. So yeah, you just have to just treat it with the kid gloves sometimes. But there we go. It's very clever at working itself out as well. Very clever at working itself out. So we're just in the waiting phase here, waiting for this combine to fill up. We're at 85% just now. So another 10%, and I think we will see the trailer coming into place. So we'll just wait for that. There we go. 95%. Pipe is out. The moment that pipe locks into place, we should see our tractor move in the distance, and there he goes. Again, making a beeline across the field. And hopefully lining up behind the combine. Like I said, that avoid fruit thing is seems to be a bit temperamental. I had it on and it drove across the field. I turned it off, it still drives across the field. So, yeah, bear that in mind. But it should just roll into position here. There we go. That is our second load being done. We'll wait for this to unload, and then we'll run this back to the silo as well. Right, there we go. Now, while it is waiting, I'm going to turn on Avoid Fruit again and see what happens. See if it'll do a better job of avoiding that fruit. But what it'll do now, wait for room again, we'll take this to the silo and tip it, and then it's just a case of rinse and repeat until the field is full. So here we go, look. It looks like it's worked now. It's almost like it sometimes needs to be reactivated before it avoids the fruit. Now again, Autodrive and Courseplay can be quite good at getting out of each other's way. So look, even there, he just hung back a bit. Even though the combine's on Courseplay and not on Autodrive, he still recognised there was a vehicle there and made sure it got out of the way. Now, it's doing all of this. Bear in mind, if I turn this back on, our only course that we've created is all the way over there, so it's doing all of this calculation as to where to find its, how to get back to its course, all off its own back, on the fly. It's so clever the way this works. So it'll find a point on the path, you can see the red line, and it will go back to field 2 wait. It's found its course, it's going to join onto it here, and it's going to run us back to the silo. Away it goes. There's the combine. And it is a case of rinse and repeat now. Like I said, I'm not driving this at all, I'm not doing anything. This is when you switch it on. As long as you've set your course up properly, it should just run very, very smoothly. So, let's wait for this to tip. And that's us, really. And then what we'll do, we'll wait for the field to be finished, we'll get that full bunker. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the combine to completely finish that field. We'll load all of the wheat into the silo, and then I'll show you how you can extend a course and take this to a sell point as well. So, we'll be back in just a little minute. Right, we're just finishing the final load from the field there. As you can see, empty trailer, and we have got, if I mouse over this and hit R, you can see we've got 23,000 litres of wheat in the silo there. Now, what we want to do is set up a course where we load here, we unload at the sell point, and we basically loop round until we're done. So what we want to do, first and foremost, we want to change our course. We basically want to change to this one, where we load at our silo, we unload at a point that we've not set yet, so we're going to do that right now, and it's going to be wheat. That is the crop that we want, because there's nothing else in there. Now, of course, if you had multiple different fruits in this silo, at this point this is where you select which fruit you want. Now, what we want to do is draw our course to where we want to go. Now, my only tip here is make sure that your course for wherever you're going is after your silo point. Now, you could have it before, there's no reason why you couldn't have it before, but what it'll do is it'll drive round the entire course all the way around there and then head out after it reaches the point. If it's in front of silo, which is where you're going to load, it will go straight out on the course that you want it to go on. So let us hit record here, and you can see there's our first waypoint triggered, and let's head on our merry way. Luckily, I know where I'm going, so yeah, definitely do your research and find out where you're going. But onto the road here, and we will run all the way down to the sell point. Now, somebody told me way back in FS19 the best way to think about Autodrive is to treat it like a railway track. So if you are planning or laying out a railway track, that is the best way to think about it, so you don't get yourself too confused. Avoid trying to cross over too many of your courses. Now, obviously, in certain circumstances that's unavoidable, but if you plan ahead, it will usually give you the best results, because you can continually build out your course as you get more confident, as you need to go to different places and different elements. It will be able to be bolting on different sections, like basically what we're doing here. We are adding a whole other section to an existing course, which is great, and the idea is you want to join them all together so you can get to any point on the map from any point on your course, and so on and so forth. So let's run down here. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. I think it's probably, I'm going to go the way I know, in here, along here. Now, like you see, I'm sticking to the right hand side here because I know I want to come back this way as well. And we will go, in fact, we'll just go route 1 across here. Because again, in the future, you could set it up when you buy your new vehicles and you can just send them back to the farm. You don't have to worry about driving them back. What we'll do, we'll get to here, totally ignore the stop sign, over here, and here is our sell point. What I'm going to do here, just roll over, and again, as per before with our silo, we want to roll past it. We'll see our trigger pop up. Won't at the moment because we haven't got anything in the trailer, but I would actually wait for the next one. That looked a bit close there. If you think about where it finishes it, sometimes you have to go quite far if you're going in a straight line. Come on. There we go. Right. Now that does seem quite a long way away, actually. So what you can do in a situation like this, if you're not comfortable with that, basically mouse over it, hold your right mouse button down, and you can move this backwards. It does bounce over vehicles sometimes, so there you go. You can see it's smoothed off now. We've got further back here. And when you're happy with it, just mouse off it. So you can move elements of your course around if you want to as well, if you're unhappy with them. But that works for that one. And we'll give that a name, which will be... what should we call this? Grain cell point. Grain cell point. There we go. Now again, as before, we've still got a record button on there, so it's still recording the course. So what we want to do here, basically come out, turn onto the road here, and head back the way we came. Now, in this instance, I am going to go pretty much straight on, because our bridge is over there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this car go past, over the road. Now bear in mind we're on the other side of the road now. Now we are going to have to cross paths here. You can't avoid, obviously, at junctions and things like that, crossing your paths in certain circumstances. That's okay, but I would say just best practice is to cross only when you absolutely need to. But there you go, you can see that is crossing our other course on the way back. And to be honest, if you had a tractor coming the other way, turning at that point, they do recognise each other and stop as well, so don't worry too much about that. Right, let's run this all the way down, back to the silo, and we'll see you there. Right, here we are, nearly back at the farm. I am going to turn down this road here, because it means we can bolt onto the other course further down. So again, that little bit of planning ahead, knowing where you want to go, is going to be definitely beneficial. So let's roll down here, and there you go, you can see our other course there. Try and narrow our angles down before we get there. But as before, when we're happy, we basically click on this one and click on whichever one you want to join. That's a good one. Right, now everything is done. We've linked our course up. What we need to do now is make sure we turn off our record, because we don't want that showing up again. And then we want to make sure that we select our unload point, and because we have grain cell point in the list now, it will go to there. Now all we need to do, hopefully, is turn it on, and it should run this course. So there you go, he's about to roll over the silo here. We should get him to trigger as soon as he gets over there. Yes, there we go. We have filled up our trailer, and he will go on his merry way. Now, hopefully, yep, he's recognised that the target we want to go to is down here and not gone down the field route. Pulls out onto the road, and off he goes all the way now to the cell point. So we'll just put this on a very quick time lapse, so you can see that it's running the full course, and we'll watch it tip at the cell point. Right, here we are, coming up to the grain cell point. As you can see, it's labelled ahead there. Now if I spin this round, you'll see the trigger point. So it's all the way down there, but it will stop as soon as it finds the trigger on the ground. There we go. Tip all of that out, and it will loop back round, back to the silo at the farm, and do it all again until the silo is empty, or we tell it to stop. Now what I'm going to do here is put it on a little time lapse again, so you can see it run back to the farm, so you know that it's run the full course, and that is pretty much it. Lots of trial and error with Autodrive. You pick up ways of doing it. Same with Courseplay. 99.9% of all of my issues end up being user based, not not mod-based, so both of them, if you don't set it up right, you will run into some issues. But invariably, if you've got it, if you've nailed your setup, it will run super, super smooth. So do bear that in mind. Not to say that's completely perfect. There are sometimes bugs in it, and there are sometimes issues that will get rectified. The team, again, both Courseplay and Autodrive teams are very attentive. So they do tend to roll out bugs and fixes and improvements very regularly. So let's just let this run back to the farm, and then we will just check that it loads up again, and then we know everything's working well. And here we are back at the farm, as you can see, just rolling back, rejoining the other course, and hopefully we are getting our second load of grain added. There we go, and off it'll go again. So there we go, Autodrive back for Farming Simulator 25, so soon after the release of 25 as well. This is fantastic. I think we waited over 6 months last time, but we have got it back, and it is working. An absolute treat, I do have to say. So big shout out to the team at Autodrive for getting this out so quickly. And now I've got a funny suspicion that the guys at Courseplay and the guys at Autodrive do speak to each other quite a lot, and they've maybe decided to release these very close to each other, which is great. But like I said to somebody the other day who asked about the Courseplay, what's the point in this? It's all built into the game now. This is a completely different level to what you get in the in-game helpers. Now, the in-game helpers have improved considerably from what we had in FS22, but the control, the options, the choices, the things you can do with this are... you can't even compare the two. So, very beneficial to have Autodrive and Courseplay if you want to have them. They do look kind of daunting on the surface, but once you get your head around them, very easy and very helpful to use, and they will save you a ton of time. Of course, if you want to drive everything yourself, you still have that option as well. You don't have to use these mods, but if you're running a big farm or you're doing a lot of stuff at one time and playing single player, this is a great way of using the time more effectively. So, on that note, thank you very much for watching. Autodrive is back. I'll be back with additional tutorials and how-tos with Autodrive over the coming weeks and months. And stay tuned, because they will update this. It will get features added. It will get things changed and updated. So I will try and keep you up to date with those all the time. But for now, from me, the Farm Sim Guy, thank you very much for watching. How great is it to have this back? Take care, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.